Good morning, I'm Nathan Edwards.
And I'm Elena Brown. Alex is off this morning.
Here's three quick stories to get your day started. There's still some time to see the legendary lights of Clifton Mill. They are open till the 30th. Even on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, Clifton Mill is always a great iconic spot here in the Miami Valley. Yeah. Have you seen any lights this year?
By my apartment, there's actually a lot of really nice lights.
You got to go out and drive around.
I know, but usually by the time it's dark, I'm like,
sleepy
time.
Working mornings
but
can
maybe
be
Friday,
a little rough.
Yeah.
Get
if
out.
I can push through, take a nap, have some coffee.
That's the goal, right?
Yes. And the Cincinnati Zoo sharing this video, well, in a little bit, maybe their baby Okapi's first steps. Don't worry. In the video, Mama is close behind.
Now, yeah, it's a cute video. We are having some technical difficulties this morning, so stick with us. We're going to do our best, and if the video is not working, it's not working.
You can go look it up.
That's right.
I'm sure your internet or your technology is working, so
yeah.
If you really want to see it, go look at the widow baby.
It is an adorable baby. Okapi's, I didn't even know I needed it in my life until now. So. And nothing is more iconic than Esther Price chocolates this time of year. The store is still open for orders. Okay, so if you have a favorite chocolate, what is it?
I love dark chocolate, so anything dark chocolate and with nuts, I'm in there.
I am all about the opera creams.
Ooh, what's that?
It's like a little cream on the inside.
Okay.
And, it's like old.
I also love Buckeyes.
Buckeyes are good this time
They're
of year.
so good.
Buckeyes are good this time of year.
I had the first ever time I had one, it was like when I lived in Cleveland as a little kid, but then I got reintroduced when I moved back here, and I'm like...
It is time for the holiday treats. Maybe a warm beverage this morning. Let's check in with meteorologist Nick Maruziak to get a check of our forecast. Nick.
Yeah, I think whiskey and a coffee sounds like a good idea for us this morning. Obviously, a little bit of technical issues, but we'll get through, we promise you, one way or the other. As for this morning, temperatures 5 to 10 degrees warmer than this time 24 hours ago. We're squarely in the 30s with a couple of us in the upper 20s. So again, a much warmer environment. As for today, generally cloudy, still what I would call mild-ish. I know that's not a technical term, but bear with me because upper 40s, not exactly the pinnacle of warmth, but it is certainly warmer than the average for this time of year. So we've got that going for us, and it does look like it is also fairly quiet out on the roadways at this time. If you are going to be out and about on that morning commute, just keep in mind that, the kids are not in school as of right now, so a lot of them may be out and about playing around and enjoying their time off.
Now approving a new request to put an operational levy on the March ballot. This after one failed back in November.
But there are mixed opinions on whether this is a good move or not. Gwyneth Falloon has more on the proposed levy.
It's a $3.9 million operating levy, and the district is estimating it will generate just over $11 million. That does come at a cost to taxpayers, though, $11 a month for every $100,000 in home value. The district says it will cover operating expenses as well as fund things like educational programs, health and wellness needs, and a number of other things. There are some pretty strong opinions, though, both for and against the levy. Those in support say the foundation of a great community starts with the school district.
We're talking about the children. We're talking about the institution that is responsible for educating and nurturing and empowering our next generation of productive citizens of society.
Those on the opposite side of the aisle, though, are raising questions over the necessity of the levy, especially if it comes at a cost to taxpayers. However, the district warns it could be looking at reductions and cuts if additional funding isn't secured. Now, I will be sitting down with Superintendent John Wesney later today to discuss what comes next. So we'll keep you updated on that conversation here on air and online. Back to you.
Gwen, thanks. Two people now recovering after a shooting in Harrison Township. It happened yesterday morning around 8:30 on Republic Drive. Now, deputies found a man with a gunshot wound to his butt and a woman with facial injuries. Deputies believe the pair were involved in a domestic violence incident. Both are expected to recover.
We're learning more about the abduction suspect killed in a hit and run on I-75 in Cincinnati. Officers received a 911 call about the abduction from victims' friends. Police spotted the suspect's car twice in attempted traffic stops, but lost it both times. The third time, officers followed the car. The driver, a 34-year-old man, abandoned the car and ran across the highway. A car hit him and drove off. He died on scene. The person abducted is safe. The 911 caller said her friend and the suspect knew each other. She said she added her friend took the suspect to the hospital numerous times before for extreme paranoia. Police are now asking any witnesses to come forward. You can contact the Cincinnati Police Department Traffic Unit at the number that's 513-352-2514.
A new tool approved by the FDA could determine if you're at risk for developing an opioid addiction by analyzing your DNA. Now, the ADVERT-D test from Autogenomics is meant for adults considering short-term use of oral opioids, like for managing pain after surgery. To test, patients just need a cheek swab sample. The device will test for 15 different genetic markers associated with addiction. It can only be given to people with no prior use of opioids, and patients must consent to it. An FDA spokesperson says this should be used as part of an evaluation and shouldn't be used alone to make decisions. Still, some experts worry about the potential limitations of the test.
It's been 1 year since the start of an agonizing week for one Columbus family. Last December, 5-month-old twins Kaysen and Kiara Thomas were kidnapped while inside a running car. Their mother had stepped out to get pizza and left the car running. The Amber Alert went out early on the 20th. Hours later, police found Kiara abandoned near the Dayton International Airport. And days after that, Indianapolis police found Kaysen inside his mother's stolen car at another pizza place, still with his alleged kidnapper. The family's reunion was unfortunately short-lived. Just a month after the babies were returned to their families, one of the twins, Kiara, died. An autopsy couldn't determine the cause, but the coroner says an unsafe sleeping environment could have played a part. Right now, the alleged kidnapper, Nala Jackson, is still in the Franklin County Jail on federal charges. The trial has been pushed back multiple times. Currently, it's set to happen in March.
Now, this morning, we are getting a new look at body camera videos from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas campus shooting. Now, parts of the video are blurred by authorities. The videos show officers clearing buildings that day, and on December 6th, a gunman fatally shot 3 professors. Police say he acted alone. We now know he was already dead while officers worked to secure the buildings.
Thousands of families in the Dayton area getting a warm holiday meal thanks to the Dayton Salvation Army. The charity held its annual Christmas food distribution at Kroc Center. More than 3,500 families each got a Kroger gift card and a turkey. It's all thanks to the donors on their community organization says it was needed now more than ever.
Today at noon, you could head out to a vigil in honor of National Homeless Persons Memorial Day. It's to remember people in our communities who experienced homelessness and died this past year. Now, in 2023, more than 3,800 people experienced homelessness in Montgomery County alone. The county's Homeless Solutions hosted the vigil to spread awareness and help. Several officers, including Dayton Mayor Jeffrey Mims, are expected to speak. And County Commissioner Carolyn Rice says, quote, "We must all collectively resolve and recommit to build more than memorials, homes sheltered in the warmth of compassion and the world where affordable housing is not just a dream, but a promise kept."
Our time is now 5:08. Don't forget, you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
Are you behind on paying your taxes? I'm Janae Bowens in Washington, and I'll let you know whether the IRS is waiving your penalties.
You're watching Your Day. Toyota's recalling about 1 million vehicles over a potential problem with the passenger airbag. The recall covers 15 Toyota and Lexus models, including the Camry, Sienna, and RAV4, as well as the Lexus RX 350 and ES 350. The model years are between 2020 and 2022. Toyota says the occupant classification sensor system in the recall vehicles could short circuit. The sensor helps identify whether the person sitting in the front passenger seat is an adult or a child based on weight. Toyota says as a result of the possible glitch, the airbag may not deploy in certain kinds of crashes when it should.
Bird, the electric scooter rental company found in many U.S. cities, filed for bankruptcy protection yesterday. The Chapter 11 filing will allow Bird to sell off its U.S. assets in the next 3 to 6 months. Bird was founded in 2017 and it went public in 2021. It called itself the largest micro-mobility operator in North America. The e-scooter company was one of the fastest startups to ever reach $1 billion valuation, and at its peak, Bird is said to have operated scooters and bicycle sharing operations in 350 cities worldwide.
All right, time to step outside and head over into the Beaver Creek area where, of course, this morning waking up to quiet weather conditions, but it is going to be a significantly more cloudy day on the whole. Yesterday, it was probably later on that we start to see the clouds move in, and what we are getting is one of these atmospheric rivers. So a couple things going on. Strong area of low pressure here over California, and that flow does take it over the Gulf, through the Gulf of California, and into the continental United States. Kind of one of those flows that you do get this time of year. Because of all the low pressure out in the California area, you can get this funnel of moisture, and sometimes it's enough to kickstart some showers. In this case today, not quite there. Temperatures will be upper 40s. We are basically talking about a quiet weather day, but one of the last ones where I can say it's virtually certain that we're going to stay dry. Tomorrow, we've got an outside chance of some showers later as well, so we are going to be looking at temperatures upper 40s. Again, those showers are going to be early on, or excuse me, later on, more towards the overnight. But I do think that we will have more threats of showers on Saturday. Saturday in particular is probably going to be the wet day, waking up to rain, on again, off again showers, perhaps breaking up as we get into the nighttime, and then continuing through parts of Sunday morning. Sunday itself, notice how temperatures bump up into the mid 50s. That's about 15 degrees above average. The overnight lows will be about 20. I'd actually have to check this, but my sneaking suspicion is that we are going to be maybe not necessarily record breaking, but close enough to records that we're going to have to just keep our eyes on it. Monday, not necessarily going to be a wet day, but I think Monday night into Tuesday, that's the next period of wet weather, and that could extend all the way through Wednesday of next week. We are talking about not just a warm pattern, but a very wet one. And unfortunately, for those that are perhaps hoping for that traditional white Christmas, no, if anything, it may be a brown Christmas, owing to the fact that everything will turn to mud. If you are going to be heading out on your morning commute this morning, the good news is right for now, things are fairly quiet on the interstates and state roads. I haven't seen any tie-ups or concerns, and everything seems to be moving as expected at this hour.
The IRS may be waiving penalties for certain people that owe back taxes. Janae Bowens explains.
Little homie, you better pay your tax. La, da, da.
Netflix's We the People series points out we all have to pay taxes.
And what you gotta pay is based on how much that you make.
And some of us are behind.
You know, we're in the billions of unpaid taxes.
The IRS reports Americans failed to pay $688 billion in taxes in 2021.
So the IRS is trying to incentivize people to do the right thing.
As tax planner and wealth manager Jacqueline Matosa explains, the IRS is providing $1 billion in penalty relief to 4.7 million individuals, businesses, and tax-exempt organizations.
I think personal responsibility is a big part of being in business.
Another wealth manager, Randy Jones, says some of his clients who pay their taxes on time aren't happy about this.
He says, I feel like America has become a bunch of professional cheaters. Like the end of the rainbow is a pot of money and it's called the government and everybody keeps digging it and taking it out of it.
Now, everyone won't get this relief. It's only for delinquent taxpayers who owe less than $100,000 in back taxes from 2020 and 2021.
It's a motivator to have your penalties waived, for sure, because those are pretty big, when you owe money.
The government says the reason for the relief is that the IRS stopped sending reminders to pay overdue tax bills in February of last year. And that's because the agency was dealing with a major backlog out of the pandemic. Now, if you are behind, you should get a notice from the IRS next month. In Washington, I'm Janae Bowens.
Our time is 5:18. You're watching Your Day.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Nathan Edwards.
And I'm Elena Brown. Here are 3 quick stories to get your day started. Dunkin' is giving away free donuts at all New York City area airports today because today is one of the busiest travel days of the season.
I mean, I'm not in an
Wish
airport.
I was in New York.
I was going to say, bring us some donuts anyways.
I
Come
know.
on. Yeah.
Sounds so good.
Travel season.
Are you
Oh,
Dunkin'
boy.
or Krispy Kreme?
There ain't no Krispy Kreme around here. So
There is. There's one by my apartment in Liberty.
Liberty is not around here.
Well,
That's
whatever.
not close enough for me. In Dayton, there is no Krispy Kreme.
But we have Bills.
That's all you need. That or Jim's up in Vandalia. Shout out my Vandalia peeps. And fresh off receiving the Daytime Emmys Lifetime Achievement Honor, Maury Povich helped announce the paternity results for an orangutan at the Denver Zoo. Zoo officials say they needed a paternity test because the baby's father could have been one of 2 apes. Wow. That's pretty terrible.
You are not the father.
You are not the
Imagine
father.
the one ape is like.
They probably don't know. They're like, what?
Yeah, they don't get it,
Dude,
but it's still hilarious.
Maury, I mean, he's made quite the career off of
He has.
that stuff.
Yeah.
People's trashiest of behaviors.
I used to stay home from school and just
Binge
switch
watch
between
Maury.
that and Jerry Springer.
Wow. May he rest in peace.
Absolutely. Barbie fans are getting a very Merry Christmas this year. Following the wild success of the Barbie movie, actor Ryan Gosling has released Ken the EP that features 4 versions of his iconic I'm Just Ken song, including a Merry Christmas Barbie version.
I tried watching his video last night, and my son's like, Dad, I don't want to watch that. But it looked good. I mean, him and Mark Ronson teaming up again. I mean, I saw the Barbie movie finally.
Yeah,
It was okay.
but you didn't like it.
No, I didn't. It's not that I didn't like it. I had higher expectations, I think.
Fair enough.
It was fine.
It's never fun to be let down.
I'm more of an Oppenheimer kind of guy.
Yeah, you seem like it.
Blowing it up.
I'm a Barbie girl.
Yeah. I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world. All right, now to our top story this morning.
Dayton City commissioners are hearing new debates about license plate camera readers.
Now, the big question on everyone's mind, is it protection or violation of privacy? Jenna Lee Borick breaks down the concerns and why Dayton police are pushing to keep them.
Automatic license plate readers, or ALPRs, were first approved by the City Commission in July of 2022. 37 of them are spread out throughout different neighborhoods in the city. Now 35 more may be added. Joe Parlett, Dayton's deputy city manager, explained during his presentation tonight that multiple steps were taken in the cities the 37 license plate readers are now. A city has to request installation. A meeting is held with the neighborhood to see if these cameras will be helpful with that area's crime issues. Finally, a neighborhood safety plan is developed, which might or might not include these cameras. And now demand for them has been growing.
At that point, we were looking at, I think, 35 cameras to be spread out over 3 neighborhoods. And by the time we were finished going to that public hearing, we had another neighborhood that Westwood jumped on board and said they wanted them.
The proposal now is that a third-party company, Flock, will get over $800,000 to install 35 more and maintain current ones. However, some are concerned.
In doing that, right, they are gathering more and more information about us, while at the same time basically stiff-arming our attempts to kind of find out how the data is being used, how it is being stored, and the controls simply do not exist in the contract as it exists today.
A lack of transparency is one concern that people have, saying that there's not enough restrictions for how long this data may be able to be stored or what other agencies may eventually have access to it. Back to you.
All right, time to do some weather here where we're waking up to a warmer start to your morning. Temperatures warmer by, half dozen degrees or more, basically across the entire area. Actually starting to approach 10 degrees warmer 24 hours by 24 hours. So we are looking at 27 right now. Middletown, 28 in Springboro, 36 in Dayton, 28 in Richmond, and 37 in Sydney, Wapakoneta, 31 though in Troy and Springfield. So effectively, we are talking about temperatures actually above the freezing mark, which is not unusual for this time of year, but it's certainly a little bit more on the warm side. Highs will be upper 40s, not just here, across the region with low 50s in Louisville. If you are traveling this morning, keep in mind that right for now, things are moving pretty smoothly on the interstate state roads. Haven't seen any tie-ups or concerns.
It's set to be an especially happy holiday season for 10 American hostages freed from Venezuela. The country released them just yesterday.
In a sign, the country's relationship with the U.S. is starting to warm up. John Lawrence reports.
Free at last, thank God Almighty, free at last. Very emotional, exciting, grateful.
After being wrongfully detained in Venezuela, these Americans are back on U.S. soil just in time for the holiday season.
Honestly, all you think about when you're in prison is how you didn't appreciate being free while you were free.
In addition to the 6 wrongfully detained Americans, Venezuela is releasing 4 additional Americans, according to U.S. officials.
This has been a priority for us broadly. It's also been a priority when it comes to Venezuela. And we want to make sure that our fellow Americans are released. We are also focused on political prisoners.
For the U.S. as part of the agreement, President Joe Biden granted clemency to Alex Saab, an alleged investor for Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The White House says it hopes this move will lead to a more democratic Venezuela.
We made a deal with Venezuela with their whole free elections. So far, they've maintained their requirements, and that's it.
And despite this deal, the administration says it isn't resting on its laurels.
So even though we can celebrate their return, the president's not willing to sit on the side while we still have Americans overseas. We have to keep pursuing that.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
President Biden taking a trip to Wisconsin Black Chamber of Commerce in Milwaukee. He's highlighting his administration's support for small Black-owned businesses. Total loans for these businesses have more than doubled under the administration. According to the Small Business Administration, the visit comes as the president looks to win more support from Black voters amid his re-election campaign.
European countries overhauling their joining system in a new migration deal. The European Union Migration and Asylum Pact aims to limit entry of migrants and make deportation easier. This deal will also give governments control over their border.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the way in Gaza needs to be less intense. He discussed the Israel-Hamas conflict during the State Department's end-of-year press briefing. Blinken says as the transition happens, harm done to civilians should also decrease significantly. He calls the suffering in Gaza over the past several months gut-wrenching, but emphasizes Israel's right to respond following Hamas's October 7th attacks.
House Judiciary Committee Chairman and Ohio Representative Jim Jordan just issued a subpoena to Attorney General Merrick Garland. He believes the Justice Department tried to access personal information of some congressional aides back in 2017, looking for proof of possible contacts between the Trump campaign and Russia. Garland wasn't confirmed as AG until 2021.
America's largest credit union now filing a class action lawsuit. It alleges Navy Federal Credit Union discriminates against Black and Latino people looking for mortgage lending. Navy Federal has hired a civil rights attorney to assess its mortgage lending policies and practices.
Hunter Biden's back in Washington, D.C. as his legal battles continue to mount. Here's national correspondent Kayla Gaskins.
Hunter Biden re-emerging in Washington for a visit at the White House, barely a week after snubbing a congressional subpoena. The first son is facing possible contempt of Congress charges as he hopped off Marine One with his father. Critics zeroing in on the fact the White House left Hunter Biden's name off the passenger list they provide to the public. Reporters pressing White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre.
Why does the president think it's appropriate that taxpayer dollars should be used to fly him around when he's been indicted?
Jean-Pierre saying the White House has no plans to announce Hunter Biden's presence on Marine One moving forward.
That's something that we've never done. This is the family. The family gets to travel with the president, and that's been the case with every other president. And so it's not something that we have done or we would be doing moving forward.
In step with this administration's visitor policy, which states they would not release records related to strictly personal guests. Biden's visitor log policy resembles that of President Obama, who also did not disclose personal guests. President Trump did away with public visitor logs altogether while he was in office, citing national security concerns, and received a windfall of backlash at the time. Now, critics argue Hunter Biden's presence at the White House is important because of his mounting pile of legal troubles. The pending contempt of Congress charge is connected to the House GOP's impeachment inquiry into President Biden amid allegations of influence peddling.
It kind of lays out a pattern that he has disregarded the law, he has disregarded authority, he thinks he's special.
Hunter Biden will be in court January 11th to enter a plea for federal tax charges in California. He's also facing federal gun charges in Delaware. I'm Kayla Gaskins reporting.
Holiday trivia is your chance to get some extra money under the tree. Use your phone's camera, scan the QR code on your screen right now to answer. Get the question right, you could win the daily prize of a $100 Visa gift card. Or you could be entered to win the $5,000 weekly winner. For complete contest rules, go to Dayton247now.com. Holiday trivia is sponsored by Thrush & Son.
Our time is now 5:39. Don't forget you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
You're watching Your Day.
A Christmas gift from the cosmos. NASA's out with a new image of what's known as the Christmas tree cluster. Now, the cluster's official name is NGC 2264, but that's not as much fun. The new picture of the soft green glow of stellar lights comes just days before Christmas. It's a Christmas miracle. The stars in this particular cluster are between roughly 1 and 5 million years old. The cluster is about 2,500 light years from Earth. It kind of looks like the Grinch too, to be honest with you.
So pretty.
Yeah, but you can't go like, oh, that's the Grinch. Like, you got to go with like Christmas tree.
Like, that's the Christmas stars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's gorgeous. Like it looked really, really cool. So
looks like the Aurora Borealis. A little bit. The Northern Lights.
Yeah, I know what they are.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
the technical term gets you?
No, I knew it's that. It's just hard for me to say. Aurora Borealis.
Aurora
Borealis.
Borealis. There you go.
Yeah.
All I know is that looked awesome.
I talk for a living.
Yeah. Now watch me go bomb weather over here. Literally, let's do this thing. And it is a morning where we're waking up to right now. A little bit of rain across Texas. We do have a system moving into California. Actually, some heavy rain parts of California. I believe there's actually flood watches out maybe just to the north of Los Angeles area. I would have to actually zoom in and see where exactly that is. But for us, I think that it's going to be potentially a wet period upcoming. Today's the last day where it's virtually going to stay dry. Tomorrow, the rain starts to our northwest, perhaps as soon as around maybe this time. Maybe an isolated shower could eke its way into the area, but by and large, I think we'll stay dry through the front half of the day. It's realistically going to be overnight Friday into Saturday that we'll start to see the showers develop. These will continue throughout much of Saturday, on again, off again showers. And although at this present point, it may be a case where not every hour of Saturday is going to be wet. Saturday is probably going to be the wet day of the weekend. So keep in mind those travel plans. If you're going to be out and about, you may need to double check your windshield wipers, not because of snow, but because of rain.
Well, if you listen to the commercials, the holidays are supposed to be the happiest time of year, but that's not always the case. In fact, many people struggle with extra stress and emotional difficulty during the holidays.
A Minnesota counseling group is out with holiday wrapping paper featuring reminders to pay attention to your mental health and personal wellness. Heidi Wigdahl has more.
The holidays can be a gift, but can also give us stress. When wrapped up in the season, this wrapping paper is serving reminders.
We wanted to get people having the conversation about the role mental health plays in the holidays.
Melissa Amponsa is the Chief Marketing Officer at Ellie Mental Health, a brand of outpatient mental health clinics founded in Minnesota.
We talked about things like the mental load of parenthood, which more typically falls on the role of the mother to carry the burden of the holidays. And we talked about holiday traditions and things that you end up carrying forward that don't mean anything to you, but you do it out of a feeling of obligation. And those things drain the joy that the holidays should actually have for us.
So they came up with this wrapping paper for the gift giver and receiver. A reminder of coping skills for the season. Get some fresh air. You don't have to stay with your family. It's okay to ask for help with that long to-do list. And don't skip therapy.
This time of year, we do see a higher rate of cancellations for our therapy appointments. Then when things get stressful, when you cut that out, you also cut out the things that are feeding into your ability to cope and to actually de-stress. And so the 1 hour spent in therapy pays dividends for the hour you would get back from cutting it.
Inspiring conversations through paper with a purpose.
Having people embrace the small and seemingly simple things that you can do that maintain the joy that the holidays are meant to bring.
Our time is now 5:47. You're watching Your Day.
the Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
All right, it is time to, well, step outside, I guess you would say figuratively, and take a look. This is the view right now over the Beaver Creek area. Of course, you can see for right now there is a whole lot of quiet weather across our area, but it's going to be an active period, and I do think it's going to stay active at least for maybe the week ahead. So for today, it's quiet. Tomorrow could be a couple showers early on. Bulk of the rain, though, arrives overnight Friday into Saturday. That's wave number 1. And then we'll get some residual, and some of that could end up staying all the way into Sunday. Sunday into Monday. So realistically, from, let's say, afternoon Sunday through afternoon Monday will be quiet. Then overnight Monday into Tuesday, more showers move in. This looks like an extended period where the low parks itself over us. We call this a cutoff low. And with temperatures remaining quite mild, it's unlikely for us to see much in the way of wet weather. This particular model may be throwing down a little bit of wet snow for Wednesday. Even that's speculative at this point. Wednesday is trending warmer and warmer, and thus I think this is going to fall majority as, well, maybe not necessarily a cold rain, but a rain nonetheless, and that'll continue all the way into late stages of next week before exiting stage right.
Our time is now 5:50. You're watching Your Day.
Today we're discussing one of the most important parts of your home. Well, it's not the most glamorous. If it's not taken care of, your home could have major damage. Any guesses? We're talking roofs, and most importantly, signs that it might be time to replace yours. To start, you're gonna wanna do an interior check by going up in the attic with a flashlight to look for stains, streaks, and beams of light. I'd also look for water damage in areas that might be sagging. Seeing issues on the interior can help locate the problem on the outside. Next, on the exterior, keep an eye on the shingles, look for patches with cracks, buckling, or damage. While these are just initial indicators, there are many other signs to look out for. Need a hand? We have pros here to help.
At Expert Roofing, we can spot a leak a mile away, but we'd rather do it up on your roof. With a free roof assessment from Expert Roofing, we can identify trouble areas and pinpoint any leaks. So contact Expert Roofing for a free roof assessment. One call today can save you
All right, we're going to step outside again and take a look at the Beaver Creek area. Maybe see if we can hop, skip, and jump over into the Miamisburg area. Let's see if this works. Sometimes it takes a half second for us to swap over, but no matter where you are, it is a fairly quiet morning when it comes to weather, so I don't think you're going to see too much of a difference right for now. As for the sky, well, it is, again, fairly cloudy. We don't really expect it to be a wet day for today, but the wet weather will be on its way for tomorrow. In the meantime, today, it's still going to be quite mild. Yesterday, we hit 49 degrees, actually overachieved by some 5 degrees on the model end. You know, when I talk about overachieving, what I'm saying is the models will predict one temperature, and when they all cluster around one spot, okay, you get a little bit of consensus. Well, certainly the models can be wrong. There are certain times where I go above them. That was the case yesterday. But even still, going above the models, it went well beyond that. So that's where we call overachieving. As for tonight, 33, so it will still be quite cloudy. Temperatures tomorrow will be into the upper 40s. This despite the fact that it will be cloudy and of a late shot at some showers. I think Saturday is probably your wet day, followed by a lingering shower Sunday. Sunday into Monday should be fairly dry, although Monday night we'll start to see the rain approach. Tuesday and Wednesday at this point look to see some rain showers. On the roads this morning, well, cloudy skies aren't going to be that big of a weather deal. The winds aren't strong, and frankly, the roads are dry, so we're looking at pretty ideal driving conditions as you head out the door this morning.
Ready or not, it's almost time to close the book on 2023. One of the most famous ways to celebrate the new year is attending the New York City Ball Drop. Yesterday, Times Square unveiled their iconic numbers for 2024. Thousands will be traveling to the Big Apple over the next week to watch the ball drop on New Year's Eve. This tradition began thanks to a Ukrainian immigrant back in the early 1900s. The idea behind the iconic ball drop came from wanting to celebrate electricity.
Well, good news, single people. Now more people can pay $500 a month to endlessly wipe profiles. Tinder's expanding the $499 membership option. So what does that mean for Tinder Select subscription? What does that get you? Well, a badge on your profile indicating you're a Select member for one, but also you can message other users without matching first, and Tinder promises you'll be seen by its most sought-after profiles. Tinder Select was first rolled out in September and only had about 1% of users able to pay for it. There's no word yet on how many more users will gain access to the feature. And starting today, I'll be creating a GoFundMe account to help purchase Nick the Select program.
Can I tell you one of my favorite things about this is? So for those that aren't aware, Tinder, you swipe right. And if two people swipe right, then you have the option to chat. This bypasses it so that you can basically drop right into proverbial someone's DMs. However, my favorite part about this whole thing is, for the women's side of things, you could just say, I don't want them to have that option, and it will close it out. So you pay $500 just for the chance that a woman has something.
You pay $500 just for hot women to already block you.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even have to pay the $500 for that.
Ah, yes. Self-awareness from Nick Maruziak. We got a lot more coming up on your day at 6 a.m.
A new tool approved by the FDA could determine if you're at risk
Good morning, I'm Nathan Edwards.
And I'm Elena Brown. Alex is off this morning.
Here's 3 quick stories to get your day started. There's still time to see the legendary lights at Clifton Mill. You don't want to miss it, folks. They're open until the 30th. Even on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, they do close an hour early on both of those days. But
it seems awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's so gorgeous out there. The pictures and videos, I'm not gonna lie, they don't do it justice. No, it is just insane.
I'm gonna let my boyfriend drive. I'm gonna have a little hot chocolate, a little adult hot chocolate, and enjoy the light.
That's right. Yeah. Enjoy them lights.
The Cincinnati Zoo sharing this video of their baby Okapi's first steps. Ooh, don't worry, Mama is close behind. Oh, he doesn't know what he's doing yet. He's like,
well, they get up and
what
move.
are these?
Still looks better than like my children's first steps. But I mean, like, yeah, pretty much you just wait for them to fall.
Yeah.
But I mean, that thing's holding up pretty good there.
It always makes me laugh that like so many other animals just walk right away, and humans, it's like, give them 9 months, a year,
and
2 years.
You wait and you wait. You're like, I can't wait for them to start walking. Then they start walking, and then they start tearing everything up, and you're like, okay, well, here we go. Next 18 years of life. Nothing is more iconic than Esther Price chocolates this time of year. Okay, so there are always some things that when family members come back into town, they gotta have. For my family, it is a golden box of Esther Price chocolates. Also, gotta have Marion's Pizza as well.
Okay.
So do you have like a favorite chocolate or a favorite thing?
I do like Buckeyes. I like anything dark chocolate with nuts. But every year my mom makes homemade Chex Mix, and if she doesn't, I'm losing my mind. Like,
my mom makes that too.
it's so good.
It just hits different.
It's just way better than like the bag.
The seasoning is just outrageous.
That's my Christmas treat.
Gotta love it. And now to our top story this morning. The Centerville Board of Education now approving a new request to put an operational levy on the March ballot. This after one failed back in November.
But there are mixed opinions on whether this is a good move or not. Gwyneth Falloon has more on the proposed levy.
It's a $3.9 million operating levy, and the district is estimating it will generate just over $11 million. That does come at a cost to taxpayers, though, $11 a month for every $100,000 in home value. The district says it will cover operating expenses as well as fund things like educational programs, health and wellness needs, and a number of other things. There are some pretty strong opinions, though, both for and against the levy. Those in support say the foundation of a great community starts with the school district.
We're talking about the children. We're talking about the institution that is responsible for educating and nurturing and empowering our next generation of productive citizens of society.
Those on the opposite side of the aisle, though, are raising questions over the necessity of the levy, especially if it comes at a cost to taxpayers. However, the district warns it could be looking at reductions and cuts if additional funding isn't secured. Now, I will be sitting down with Superintendent John Wesney later today to discuss what comes next. So we'll keep you updated on that conversation here on air and online. Back to you.
It is time to do some weather, shall we? We're waking up to the temperature about a touchdown and the extra point away from where we were yesterday. That is +7 for all those fans or non-fans of football. 36 degrees right now in Dayton. We've got 30 even in Troy, 34 in Greenbelt, and 31 in Eaton. Upper 20s, though, as you move your way towards Richmond, Xenia, and Middletown. So there are a couple of colder spots outside as well. For the rest of today, highs will be upper 40s. We'll call it generally cloudy and still mild-ish because, frankly, upper 40s, yeah, that's still, I almost sneezed there. It's still warmer than average, but it's not ridiculously hot, and certainly upper 40s is still jacket weather for just about all of us. On the roads this morning, I haven't seen any tie-ups or concerns thus far. So far, it's been okay. So for right now, we are doing all right as you head out the door.
2 people now recovering after a shooting in Harrison Township. It happened yesterday morning around 8:30 on Republic Drive. It happened as deputies found a man with a gunshot wound to his butt and a woman with facial injuries. Deputies believe the pair were involved in a domestic incident. Both are expected to recover.
We're learning more about the abduction suspect killed in a hit and run on I-75 in Cincinnati. Officers received a 911 call about the abduction from the victim's friend. Police spotted the suspect's car twice and attempted traffic stops but lost it both times. The third time officers followed the car, the driver, a 34-year-old man, abandoned the car and ran across the highway. A car hit him and drove off. He died on scene. The person abducted is now safe. The 911 caller said her friend and the suspect knew each other. She added her friend took the suspect to the hospital numerous times before for extreme paranoia. Police are now asking any witnesses to come forward and contact the Cincinnati Police Department Traffic Unit at the number here behind me. That's 513-352-2514.
A new tool approved by the FDA could determine you're at risk for developing an opioid addiction by analyzing your DNA. The Advert D test from Autogenomics is meant for adults considering short-term use for oral opioids like managing pain after surgery. To test, patients need a cheek swab sample. The device will test for 15 different genetic markers associated with addiction. It can only be given to people with no prior use of opioids, and patients must consent to it. An FDA spokesperson says this should be used as part of an evaluation, shouldn't be used alone to make decisions. Still, some experts worry about potential limitations of the test.
It's been 1 year since the start of an agonizing week for one Columbus family. Last December, 5-month-old twins, Kason and Kayer Thomas, were kidnapped while inside a running car. Their mother had stepped out to get pizza and left the car running. The Amber Alert went out early on the 20th. Hours later, police found Kayer abandoned near the Dayton International Airport. And days after that, Indianapolis police found Kason inside his mother's stolen car at another pizza place, still with his alleged kidnapper. The family's reunion was unfortunately short-lived. Just a month after the babies were returned to their parents, one of the twins, Kayer, died. An autopsy couldn't determine the cause, but the coroner says an unsafe sleeping environment could have played a part. Right now, the alleged kidnapper, Nala Jackson, is still in the Franklin County Jail on federal charges. The trial has been pushed back multiple times. Currently, it's set to happen in March.
We're getting a new look at body camera videos from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas campus shooting. Take a look at your screen. Parts of the video are blurred by authorities. These videos showed officers clearing buildings that day. December 6th, a gunman fatally shot 3 professors. Police say he acted alone. We now know he was already dead while officers worked to secure the buildings.
Thousands of families in the Dayton area getting a warm holiday meal thanks to the Dayton Salvation Army. The charity held its annual Christmas food distribution at the Kroc Center. More than 3,500 families each got a Kroger gift card and a turkey. It's all thanks to donors on our community. The organization says it was needed now more than ever. If you'd like to donate, just head to the web version of the story at Dayton247now.com. In this article, we've included a link to the Kroc Salvation Army's website. There you can find a number to call or a link to volunteer or donate.
Today at noon, you could head out to a vigil in honor of National Homeless Persons Memorial Day. It's to remember people in our communities who experienced homelessness and died over the past year. In 2023, more than 3,800 people experienced homelessness in Montgomery County alone. The county's Homeless Solutions hosted this vigil to spread awareness and help. Several officials, including Dayton Mayor Jeffrey Mims, are expected to speak. County Commissioner Carolyn Wright says, quote, "We must all collectively resolve and recommit to the build to more memorials, homes sheltered in the warmth of compassion, and a world where affordable housing is not just a dream, but a promise kept."
Our time is now 6:08. Don't forget you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
You're watching Your Day.
It is time to take a look outside where clouds still continue to pour into the area. It is not going to be a picturesque blue day. We may have some pockets of blue. That would be about it. Despite the clouds, we should still get upper 40s. Yesterday, got upper 40s as well. It was an impressively warm day. But tomorrow, we'll probably start ballpark about where we are this morning, give or take a couple degrees. I think this morning, by and large, we're in the low 30s, somewhere in that ballpark. If you go by the average, I think we're going to be in a fair shape for that as well. Friday itself should be generally dry. The only concerns that I have are maybe towards the afternoon or evening overnight period. And I should note that's evening overnight, where we will likely get some showers out to the west. Whether or not they get here during the daytime hours seems to be a little bit on the lower end of probabilities, but there's still a chance for that. Still a chance that Saturday ends up being your wet day, despite the fact that temperatures on Saturday should also be at or maybe just slightly below 50 degrees. If you're on the roads this morning, you don't have to worry about any wet weather. So far, it's a fairly quiet morning commute all across the board. Haven't seen any other tie-ups or concerns on the interstates or state roads.
Our time is 6:13. Today in Grant Me Hope, we introduce you to a 14-year-old who loves writing stories. Just ahead, why Jeanette wants to be a teacher and what she's looking for in a family.
You're watching Your Day.
At any given time, there are more than 600 children in foster care here in Montgomery County. The goal is always to reunite those children with their families, but the sad truth is some of those kids can never go back home, and now they're up for adoption.
Dayton 24/7 Now is teamed up with Grant Me Hope to help, and this morning we want to introduce you to Janet, who's right now looking for a family.
Hi, I'm Janet. I'm in 9th grade. I am 14 years old. I like to listen to music and write. I like write my own stories. I really just write life stories. Like when I was at my residential, I wrote a 10-page paper on being in a residential at a young age, because I felt like if I wrote a story and I ended up publishing it sooner or later, that it would help younger girls or younger boys even to understand how it is to be in a residential when you're younger. And then I'm writing a story right now. Previously, I started writing a story on my laptop talking about high school, starting high school. I like listen to everything. It's weird. When I'm happy, I listen to sad songs, but that's normal. And when I'm happy, I also listen to rap. And then when I'm sad, I listen to sad songs when I'm sad. My favorite subject in school would probably be financial literacy and health. When it comes down to school, and I feel like notes need to be taken, I'm gonna take notes even though the teacher told me not to take notes. I'm gonna take notes because then I'm gonna have extra notes for when the quiz comes, because in 9th grade they have this thing called open notes. And we'd be able to take tests with our notes. So I'm like, let me just take extra notes. I really want to either be a teacher or a singer, because I like to sing. It's on my recording thing. So basically, I play music on my videos, and then I would like lip sync to them and record myself. I'll do that on Snapchat. And then I also dance, but I don't dance in front of people. I'm very independent. Well, I work at McDonald's right now. I either do front counter or I bag food. Honestly, I feel like what I see in a family is someone that I can talk to and trust, loyal, and helpful.
You can find out more about Janet and other children who are up for adoption right now on Dayton247now.com.
Every week, we're going to feature another child in our Dayton 24/7 Now's Grant Me Hope profiles.
Time to take a look at temperature, where this morning, I mentioned it before, but I think it's worth pointing out. Generally speaking, we're in the low 30s. Dayton, Sydney, Wapakoneta, all a little bit more anomalously warm, at least compared to what I would say is the going rate, which is, again, somewhere around the freezing mark or perhaps even lower. With the winds factored in, there's not much of a wind chill this morning, so we're really not seeing that big difference, and that's partially due to the fact that there's not a lot of wind. This is the view as you look down from Miamisburg into the valley. It is fairly quiet. Out the door today, temperatures upper 40s. It will be generally cloudy, so keep that in mind today that it's not an umbrella day, but if you're smart about it, you put the umbrella in your car so you don't forget it tomorrow. There you go. See, planning ahead always works. And if you're planning ahead, don't worry, I'll talk about your Christmas travel up here in just a little bit. But for today, or excuse me, tomorrow, that's when we start to see some showers moving in. Saturday in particular could be the wet day, although it may not be a deluge of rain, maybe on again, off again showers. Could continue into the front part of Sunday, although late Sunday into Monday seems like it's the dry period, so good news if you're actually traveling Christmas Day itself. We do have a shot at some evening, maybe late night showers on Christmas into your Tuesday. And then from there, it does look like wet weather will park itself over us. Speaking of park, it's not a parking lot on the traffic cams. Everything moving smoothly, as you'd imagine. There's not as much traffic because well, some of us have already started on our holidays. Plus, of course, don't have as many buses on the roads this morning. Kids off from school.
Topping this morning's Dayton Business Journal headlines, another city in the Miami Valley denied a convenience store's change proposal to build in their area. Fairborn has denied Wawa's plans to build a 6,000 square foot location on East Dayton Yellow Springs Road. You're seeing the proposed location on your screen now. The vote was 5-2. A Fairborn spokesperson says City Council won't say why they denied the proposal, and the city has declined any further comment. To read more about this story and others like it, head to Dayton247now.com. Just click the news tab and then select Dayton Business Journal.
Our time right now, 6:21. A hiker in Washington saved by his flashlight after he fell thousands of feet and couldn't be found. Coming up, this inspirational story of survival.
You're watching Your Day.
It is time for Pet of the Day. Of course, we celebrate pets. And today, we got a cute one. Maggie May celebrating her first Christmas. Of course, you know, Christmas with the pets always interesting, if you will. I know my first Christmas with Valkyrie, my parents came to town, and I could not get over how big Valkyrie was, and my dad at the time could not understand why the dog was obsessed with licking his face. Needless to say, they found a partnership throughout the years upcoming, and well, throughout the last few years, I should say. All right, as for today, a lot of cloudy skies, so if you're getting outside with your pet, keep in mind no sunshine to be had, but it is going to be a mild day, so at least there is that. It is not going to be a bad day for getting out there with your Maggie Mays or what have you in terms of your pets. Worth pointing out, though, that tomorrow we will likely see rain, so it is going to be a much different period upcoming with warm and wet weather once you get past today. Meanwhile, on the roads this morning, no major issues, just seeing a little bit of congestion over by Caroline. 3rd Street looking okay, and then 35 and the 70-75 interchange also looking pretty okay.
A flashing light helped naval search crews locate a hiker who fell more than 1,200 feet in Washington state over the weekend. According to the Naval Air Station Whidbey Island, the 30-year-old man was hiking Mount Eleanor on Saturday when he fell down a ravine in the Olympic National Forest. Now, the person he was hiking with was unable to find him. Search and rescue crews couldn't locate him near the top of the mountain, so they started to search about 1,000 feet down from the top. That's when they saw the avalanche run out and a flashing light and found the hiker alive. Lucky. Wow.
Well, I will say there's luck, and there's also a little bit of making your own luck. In this case, he had a flashlight. I have heard stories of people taking shards of glass and you hit the sun and you're just bouncing it off of anything. Yeah, I mean, if you get lost in whatever environment, make sure you have some way of signaling. Flashlight, like you said, glass, even your own, glasses can be used to signal for help, and all those are good ideas. Or, have a way to get in touch with people, cell phone, GPS, what have you.
But even falling that far is crazy.
1,000 feet down a hill.
Yeah. I rolled down 10 feet. I jump off a curb and I feel my ankle.
You're like, gonna be hung up for weeks. Our time right now is 6:26, still to come.
America's largest credit union now facing a class action lawsuit. Just ahead, the allegations against them.
But first, here's Gina Gannon with America's Steals and Deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Naki.
Haven't we all been in that situation where as soon as you get in your car, that tire pressure light goes on, then it starts blinking, then you have to go to the nearest gas station, and you just hope that someone's there to help you fill your tires with air? Well, thanks to the folks at Never Go Flat, you don't have to worry about that anymore. This is your emergency 3-in-1 peace of mind kit, knowing that you never ever will be stranded and you're always going to be prepared. That's what I love so much about this. So you can actually inflate your tire on your car, your truck, your bike. If you have pool equipment, if you have sports equipment, it's awesome. Even an air mattress. This does the job, which is so great. It also has an emergency floodlight, flashlight, blinking light. On the back here, it actually has a USB port. So it's just great that you are always ready no matter what happens. I was very insecure when it came to this kind of stuff, but now I don't have to be. So if you're ever stranded on the side of the road, this is your assurance for you that, again, you are good to go. Every year, there are 33,000 tire-related accidents. So this is your peace of mind. Give it to all your family members that you love, making sure that they are always prepared. And that's what the folks at Never Go Flat really want to see happen. So right now we're offering 31% off on Never Go Flat. Head to asadeals.com for this exclusive offer.
Good morning, I'm Nathan Edwards.
And I'm Elena Brown. Alex is off this morning.
Here are a few of your top stories you're waking up to this morning. A Dunkin' Donuts giving away free donuts at all New York City area airports today.
Oh, I'm sure they're going to be outrageous today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like lines. Sometimes I feel like when they give those free things away, the lines aren't worth it.
Yeah, it's like you're going to wait 2 hours for a singular free donut. Nah.
Yeah, I mean, people bring donuts here all the time.
I'd rather go pay
No, I could use some bills.
Krispy Kreme.
Bills today.
I did just see it on DoorDash. All right, and fresh off of receiving the Daytime Emmy Award achievement, Maury Povich helped announce paternity results for an orangutan at the Denver Zoo. Zoo officials say they needed a paternity test because the baby's father could have been one of 2 apes.
Oh, daddy issues, eh?
Literally. Oh, did you see it? It was so cute.
It was so cute. Look at those two.
They're going to have beef.
They're going to have beef.
Big beef.
And they're just going to fight. Yay, we found the daddy. What a bizarre
Mama got
thing.
some questions to answer.
Maury has had quite the career. And Barbie fans getting a very Merry Christmas this year following the wild success of the Barbie movie. Actor Ryan Gosling just released Ken, the EP, that features 4 versions of his iconic I'm Just Ken song, including a Merry Christmas Barbie version.
He should feature you.
I'm Just Ken.
That's all you know?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the movie. I don't ever remember lyrics. I can remember like Star Spangled Banner, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Jingle Bells, and then I'm cashed.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Top 3.
That's it. There ain't no any top past that. That's just the list, okay?
You're looking live right now over Dayton, where city commissioners are hearing new debates about license plate camera readers.
The big question on everyone's minds, is it a protection or a violation of privacy? Jenna Lee Borick breaks down the concerns and why Dayton police are pushing them.
Automatic license plate readers, or ALPRs, were first approved by the City Commission in July of 2022. 37 of them are spread out throughout different neighborhoods in the city. Now 35 more may be added.
Joe Parlett, Dayton's deputy city manager, explained during his presentation tonight that multiple steps were taken in the cities the 37 license plate readers are now. A city has to request installation. A meeting is held with the neighborhood to see if these cameras will be helpful with that area's crime issues. Finally, a neighborhood safety plan is developed, which might or might not include these cameras. And now demand for them has been growing.
At that point, we were looking at, I think, 35 cameras to be spread out over 3 neighborhoods. And by the time we were finished going to that public hearing, we had another neighborhood that Westwood jumped on board and said they wanted them.
The proposal now is that a third-party company, Flock, will get over $800,000 to install 35 more and maintain current ones. However, some are concerned.
In doing that, right, they are gathering more and more information about us, while at the same time basically stiff-arming our attempts to kind of find out how the data is being used, how it is being stored, and the controls simply do not exist in the contract as it exists today.
A lack of transparency is one concern that people have, saying that there's not enough restrictions for how long this data may be able to be stored or what other agencies may eventually have access to it. Back to you.
For today, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 40s. It should be generally cloudy, but it's still going to be mild-ish. I mean, 48 degrees. All right, we'll take that, right? This time of year, as long as it's not in the teens and 20s for highs, I think that none of us are going to be really, truly that arguing that loudly. And that goes for just about the entirety of the Great Lakes. Generally cloudy for the rest of the day. Temperatures anywhere from the low 40s to the upper 40s, and just Louisville at 50. So effectively today going to be a decent travel day, and of course we'll continue to keep you updated not just on our weather but around the region over the next few days as we gear up again for that Christmas travel rush. As for this morning's travel, around the area, it is fairly quiet. There is just a little bit more traffic, but nothing unusual for right now.
It's set to be an especially happy holiday season for 10 American hostages freed from Venezuela. The country just released them yesterday.
It's a sign the country's relationship with the U.S. is starting to warm up. John Lawrence reports.
Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, free at last. Very emotional, exciting, grateful.
After being wrongfully detained in Venezuela, these Americans are back on U.S. soil just in time for the holiday season.
Honestly, all you think about when you're in prison is how you didn't appreciate being free while you were free.
In addition to the 6 wrongfully detained Americans, Venezuela is releasing 4 additional Americans, according to U.S. officials.
This has been a priority for us broadly. It's also been a priority when it comes to Venezuela. And we want to make sure that our fellow Americans are released. We are also focused on political prisoners.
For the U.S. as part of the agreement, President Joe Biden granted clemency to Alex Saab, an alleged investor for Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The White House says it hopes this move will lead to a more democratic Venezuela.
We've made a deal with Venezuela that they'll hold free elections. So far, they've maintained their requirements, and that's it.
And despite this deal, the administration says it isn't resting on its laurels.
Even though we can celebrate their return, the president's not willing to sit on the side while we still have Americans overseas. We have to keep pursuing that.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
President Biden taking a trip to Wisconsin Black Chamber of Commerce in Milwaukee. He's highlighting his administration's support for small Black-owned businesses. Total loans for these businesses have more than doubled under the administration, according to the Small Business Administration. The visit comes as the president looks to win more support from Black voters amid his re-election campaign.
European countries overhauling their joining system in a new migration deal. The European Union Migration and Asylum Pact aims to limit entry of migrants and make deportation easier. This deal also gives governments control over their border.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the war in Gaza needs to be less intense. He discussed the Israel-Hamas conflict during the State Department's end-of-year briefing.
We expect to see and want to see a shift to more targeted operations with a smaller number of forces that's really focused in on dealing with the leadership of Hamas.
Blinken says as the transition happens, harm done to civilians should also decrease significantly. He calls the suffering in Gaza over the past several months gut-wrenching, but emphasizes Israel's right to respond following Hamas's October 7th attacks.
House Judiciary Committee Chairman and Ohio Representative Jim Jordan just issued a subpoena to Attorney General Merrick Garland. He believes the Justice Department tried to access personal information of some congressional aides back in 2017, looking for proof of possible contacts between the Trump campaign and Russia. Garland wasn't confirmed as AG until 2021.
America's largest credit union now facing a class action lawsuit. It alleges Navy Federal Credit Union discriminates against Black and Latino people looking for mortgage lending. Navy Federal has hired a civil rights attorney to assess its mortgage and lending policies and practices.
Holiday Trivia is your chance to get some extra money under the tree. Use your phone's camera to scan the QR code on your screen right now to enter. Get the question right, you could win a daily prize of a $100 Visa gift card, or you could be entered to win the $5,000 weekly winner. For complete contest rules, go to Dayton247now.com, click on Holiday Trivia, and it's sponsored by Thrush & Son.
Our time is now 6:40. Don't forget you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials. High school football seniors making their college decisions public on early signing day. 2 Springfield High School seniors staying in state for the next chapter. Matt Digby has more.
You're watching Your Day.
the Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Welcome to winter, but the cold season rolled out a snowy carpet 2 days ago and more than 7,000 feet above sea level in California's Echo Summit. This rainbow, part of the suburban landscape, as showers moved into Southern California. Flood watches are in place as rain and widespread flooding are expected through Friday. Snow is possible starting around 7,000 feet. And the view from 7,400 feet over Lake McDonald, Montana.
Hi, everybody. I'm currently in the midst of a sneezing attack, so please forgive me if I all of a sudden start to just basically sneeze and get very loud during it. As for this morning, if you're going to be out and about, it doesn't look like a awful morning by any stretch of the imagination, but we do have clouds continuing. This ahead of our next weather system that should arrive sometime between overnight on Friday into Saturday. This is just one wave of several that will likely bring rain to the area. There's wave number 1, lingering shower overnight Saturday into Sunday, and then for Monday night into Tuesday, more wet weather. This is likely to linger all throughout next week.
Good morning, I'm Matt Digby with a look at sports. Early signing day for high school football seniors, and 2 from Springfield High School making their decisions official on Wednesday afternoon. Aaron Scott Jr. putting pen to paper that he will enroll early at Ohio State. Scott is one of the top-rated defensive backs in the country in this year's recruiting class. He chose the Buckeyes over Michigan and Oregon. Deshaun Martin will also stay in the state of Ohio at Kent State. He started his high school career at Springfield Catholic Central before joining the Wildcats. Both Scott and Martin talking about the process and how they're ready to begin this next chapter.
Yeah, I feel like that was one of the great decisions I made. I feel like once I committed and see how much love it was, I feel like it just got only better from there. I ain't think about no other school. It was just Ohio State. It's a blessing to be able to be in this position. A lot of players can't do what I've been doing.
I wanted to go somewhere where I could play early because I knew I wanted to see the field as soon as possible to make an impact and then make a statement. I'm really glad for everything that coaches did for me, and then my family as well, them taking the sacrifice. So I'm just glad I got a home, an opportunity.
And Scott and Martin were 2 of just several seniors from the Miami Valley to sign with FBS schools on Wednesday, and there will be even more signing when the regular signing day begins in February. That's a look at sports. I'm Matt Digby.
Our time is 6:46. You're watching Your Day.
Time to step outside and look at Miamisburg this morning, which, okay, fairly quiet. No big deal. No big weather makers right for now. Cloudy skies, though. Excuse me. And cloudy skies will be here all day. Despite the clouds, temperatures should still be able to get upper 40s. So for all intents and purposes, just about as warm as it was yesterday. Difference is today, of course, we're going to do it under the overcast, and it just looks like a gloomy day overall. Tonight, 33, as again, we remain cloudy. Tomorrow, temperatures should also be upper 40s. Difference is we have a shot, although I would dare say it's going to be a low-end chance of seeing showers during the daylight hours. I think the bulk of the rain does arrive overnight Friday into Saturday. Saturday, on again, off again showers, probably the wettest day, but there may be extended periods where there's not much in the way of wet weather. Sunday could be a couple lingering showers. Monday, throughout much of the day, should be okay. So Santa Claus should be able to come down the chimneys without too much in the way of an umbrella. But on the back half of Monday to Tuesday, as let's say your family's leaving or you're leaving, whatever spot you may be celebrating Christmas, that's when we do have a shot at rain. So keep in mind that it is going to be an extended wet period Tuesday and Wednesday, but temperatures should be warm enough that it's falling as rain and not snow. As for this morning, if you are traveling, there's no rain, no incidents to report on. It's frankly a very quiet morning commute all across the Miami Valley.
Our time right now is 6:52. You're watching Your Day. The Centerville Board of Education now approving a new request to put an operational levy on the March ballot. This after one failed back in November.
But there are mixed opinions on whether this is a good move or not. Gwyneth Falloon has more on the proposed levy.
It's a $3.9 mil operating levy, and the district is estimating it will generate just over $11 million. That does come at a cost